program you want to use to show off your images. So you're going to open that up, and then you'll just go up to the top left and click on the screen share button.
Okay. You see it now?
Yep, great. Okay, so same as everybody else, you just tell me a little bit about creating the images, what you love and you don't, and then I'm going to grade you on a scale of 0 to 3.
Okay, this one is a family portrait of my friend who just happened to have his family with him, and then we just kind of rushed on to shoot for a famous park here in our place, and then intended this to be some kind of a poster-like kind of thing. So, and he liked this, so I'm pretty much happy that he liked it, and I liked how it was processed too. So, yeah.
I like the processing as well. There's a lot of information in this shot visually, so this is difficult too when you're doing group shots. Like, I feel like I actually want to look between his legs because there's so much texture in the seat that he's on with the concrete, and it's so sharp and in focus that I keep going down there to see what that's about. And I think that's because of some of the highlight on there as well. So a shallower depth of field would have probably been beneficial, but at the same time, I think if you had done that, then you would have sacrificed sharpness with one of the other family members. So that's the trade-off of that. But I feel between the texture of the concrete and then all the foliage in the background with the leaves, that everything is competing for focus in this shot. It's a little bit dark, a little bit underexposed, just in the way that we're losing, like we lose the little, the one that's standing up in the background, we lose the hair in the shadows of the leaves really bad. So his whole head kind of like falls into the background there. So I think if we had a little bit more texture, you know, in the skirt and in the hair and in the shirt and the pants and some of the shadows, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more detail. But other than that, I still really like the shot. I do tend to like when they sort of have that everybody's kind of not paying attention to the photographer thing. But here I feel like it may just be a little lost in translation with everybody looking in different directions, and nobody giving focus anywhere. I don't know, it's just not selling for me, but that might also be because they're kids too and they're kind of doing what they're told. There isn't enough energy going to whatever it is that they're at that I think that it sells it. But I love the positioning, I love the posing, I love the attitude of all of them and how they're all kind of giving their own energy to the shot. And the wardrobe works really well, and I do like the processing on it a lot and how it kind of ties everything together. So I'm going to give this one a 2. I think it's a really commendable image, but I think that if we had lightened up the shadows and just tweaked a couple of little things, that would have really taken it to exceptional.
Okay, I should have darkened the one at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
This one here.
Yeah, I think if that one was darkened, and I think if we could pull a little bit of detail out of some of the shadows of their clothes and their hair, that it would have helped immensely.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, next one.
Next one. This is a concept I've seen from the web. I kind of copied some kind of a sneakerhead dreaming, floating, something like that, and just made this in our living room here.
Okay. Same thing. You like to shoot a little bit on the dark side, so we lose a lot of the details. I would have liked to have seen the texture in the couch and in the sneakers and her hair. Um, I'm not a big fan of the finish on this one. I think when you start adding the painter kind of textures and stuff, that's usually to make up for a poor photograph. Um, it really is. Most
I
people
agree.
that start putting really heavy textures and overlays on are usually making up for poor photographic quality. Um, it's a distraction thing. Um, as far as the flotation, this is really hard for it to be believable. The fabric has to act naturally. So whatever we have her laying on is flattening out her stomach, and so that's what makes it a non-believable image as far as levitation. Because if she was floating there, the shirt would be hanging down.
Yes.
So that's the trade-off. So you either have to get really good at liquify and painting and Photoshop to be able to add that back in, or you have her sit forward enough on whatever she's balancing on that the fabric can still come down in front of it.
Hmm.
I'm not particularly in love with her pose. It doesn't lend to the believability of it. You wanna look at Danielle Douglas and at Ava Bach. Both of them have brought levitation images to critique that scored pretty well. They could probably give you some pointers on that. So um,
Okay.
I like the concept, but for me, this one's not going to make your portfolio. So I'm going to give this one a 1. I like the
Okay.
idea, but I just don't think it worked
Okay.
collaboratively. So okay, next one.
Next one is a kind of a boudoir shot. Um, I kind of like this, but it's a bit constrained on her left side, and I like the processing, but I think it's too soft on her.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So do you have headphones in, or are you hearing the echo? Because I'm hearing my echo. It makes it impossible for me to think.
Oh, sorry. I think I'm in a speaker. I'm using speaker.
Okay, so next critique, you want to make sure that you bring headphones. I'm just going to mute you, and then just make sure to take yourself off mute when I'm done. Okay?
Okay. Hello.
Sorry. I'm going to
Okay.
mute you, not me. There we go. So I love that you're playing with boudoir. Um, there's a few things with this image. I love the playful implied nudity that you're using her hair, because the one thing that I can't stand is exactly what you have her doing, which is doing the hambra, which is everybody's international. I want to have her naked, but I don't want to get kicked off Facebook. That's the new sign for that. So um, what you could have actually done was flip her hair to the other shoulder and let it come down over her right side, and her hand and her knee positioning would have hidden the other one, so it still would have been an implied nude, but you wouldn't have had to have kept the hand up. Um, I don't think that the necklace is doing anything for this shot. It would go for me in terms of wardrobe. And I also am not a fan of the bottoms. The little pink bow I think is distracting, and the elastic on it is too tight. So we're getting that shadow underneath her stomach, which is making her look heavy set and pouchy in the midsection, which no girl likes whatsoever. Um, I'm not a big fan of the flyaway hairs either. Those would have been edited out in post for me. Um, and I actually think that the focus is sharper on like the beaded pearls than it is on her eyes. So her eyes look a little soft focused by comparison. Um, Overall, this one's just not hitting the mark for me either. I think the posing needs some work, and your perspective of where you are in relation to her. Um, the general idea is that you don't want to ever shoot from an angle that would be indecent if she was totally nude, and this one would be because you're kind of right up in between her legs. So if it was me, I think pulling you around 90 degrees to the side would have probably made for a better and a more flattering shot. Um, you want to be careful of the lighting coming across right now because of her hand being in front. If you look at it size, like if you actually took a ruler and put it aside, her hand is almost the same width as her face. So, and that's because it's the closest thing to the camera, and then you're accentuating that further by it being really close to the light source. So her hand is also the brightest thing in the image in terms of her flesh tone, so it's competing with her face for the focus of the viewer with the shot, even though it's out of focus. Um, so I think the posing needs to be switched up on this one, and your perspective of where you are in relationship to her would probably be better placed elsewhere as well. But I do love the connection to the camera and that she's connected with you with a personal link, because that's really hard for a lot of photographers to establish. And the lighting on her face is very flattering, and you nailed the butterfly light, and we got the catch lights in the eyes. So I think all of that is really doing a lot for her and contouring her face very flatteringly. So I'm going to give this one a 1-2 just because I'm not a really big fan of the pose at all, and I think that there were a lot of things that we could have shifted to make this a much stronger shot. So don't forget to take yourself off mute too. There's so much power, it can just silence people.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. I really didn't notice the pink one, the hair, and all the perspective. Thanks. I learned I should be doing that pose too.
All right.
So next one.
Yes.
This was a long time ago. Maybe a year ago or two. I was just starting and had some friends did a shoot, and this was really not being posed. I didn't like ask her to do this, but she was like doing like that, and the hair was flowing with the wind, and I took the shot. They said, I think the light on her shoulder is a bit distracting, but at the moment that I graded it, I really liked it. So yeah, that's it.
I like this one too. I think this may be my favorite so far. Um, I like the movement in her hair, but I think the piece coming across her face is a little bit distracting and cuts her, kind of severs her face from her chin. Um, I agree with the hot spot. I like the warmth of the light coming, but it gets a little bit hot on her shoulder and across the front of her décolletage. Um, and again, I'd like to see just a little bit more detail in the shadows and the blacks of her shirt. We actually kind of lose the edge of her body into the shadow of her arm behind her. So that's where it's really important to start, separating and having the gradient in the shadows. But I like the expression. I like the movement. I like how natural it looks. It's very like magazine editorial. In the energy that it has. So I'm gonna give this one a 2. I think it's a commendable photograph. I like the energy and the thought of it, and I like the lighting in spite of it being a little bit hot on her shoulder.
Okay, thanks.
Next one.
Last one. Okay, um, this was done on a workshop I attended, and I kind of played with textures. So yeah, it's just being shot flat in front, but I like how the textures went well with the subject.
I love the styling of this photograph, and I like the lighting that we got on her face, which can be hard with body paint to still keep kind of the texture of the cheekbones and all the definition. And I think that you did that well here, along with the catch lights. If it had been brought up just a little bit more, I'm going to keep picking on you about these shadows. But I would
Mhm.
like to see some separation between the iris and the pupil of the eyes. Right now, they're all black. Um, so
Yeah,
little more definition. The eyes really sell portraits 100%. Um, the textures I don't mind in this, but I also don't know that it's really adding anything to the shot. I'd have to see it without it, I think. And you're totally allowed to do this in level 4, but you can't bring workshop images to level 9 because they're cheating you. Somebody else setting up the shots and the location and the wardrobe for you. It's not your creation anymore. It's a collaborative effort, so you can't take the credit for it when it's a good shot. But we'll allow it because it's level 4 and it's well
I
done.
agree. Sorry.
No, no, it's okay. And a couple of the other apprentices have too, but it is one of those things where it's hard to gauge your current talent and your growth if you're working
Mhm.
off of somebody else's idea for the shot.
I agree.
Um, unless you're doing it consistently. Like if you have a team that you're working with, I think that's totally different. Like I have my makeup artist and she puts amazing things together. And if you're working with like a makeup artist and a wardrobe designer and, you know, set people and like they're your team and you're all working together, I'm all for that if you're each playing your roles. But the problem with this is that if you put this on your website and people want you to be able to reproduce this and you can't because it's a workshop image, you know, it's a little bit of false advertising. So things to keep in mind. But that being said, it's a beautiful shot, and I'm going to give you a 3 for this one because I really like it. Um, I think the vignetting's a little bit harsh, and I'm not a huge fan of the textures, but I love the design of her, and I love that she's sort of looking off camera, but that we're still getting like really potent emotion from her expression, and I think that that is all you and your model, and that's a really hard thing to teach. So, bravo.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all 5 already. Oh,
Yeah.
man, you're fast. You can end my critique day anytime.
So
So,
fast, right?
okay, so you can turn off the screen share. And then, so you shared a variety of images, but they're definitely all people. So talk to me a little bit about photography and what you're doing.
Okay. I'm in IT, and at first I started with landscape, but I did realize that I love to shoot people. Once in a while, I shoot events, I get money and all those stuff. But I do have a 9 to 5 job, so I'm only able to shoot during weekends and all those things.
Okay. What are you
Yep, I
looking?
just started 2 years ago.
Okay. What are you looking to do with your photography? Are you looking to pursue it professionally, or is this a hobby? Is it something that you just enjoy doing?
It's a hobby, but I want to pursue it as maybe something that I can work on with magazines, something like that, FHM style, maybe.
Okay.
But I don't think my post processing is geared to that because I tend to make it a little bit darker and all those things. I think it's opposite to I'm currently in right now. But I'm
Okay.
exploring with being creative, so I also want to try that and explore more in that.
Okay. And what are you looking to get out of the Arcanum?
Uh, Develop my skills as a photography. Maybe I think I would need to have my portraiture skills um, enhanced, or maybe um, being able to work on that well. And I need, I mean, I'm lost here. I need to put up my post processing and being able to be creative.
Okay. Okay, so if I could wave my little magic Arcanum fairy wand, what does it look like when you leave at level 20? What is it that you want to have accomplished? Do you want to improve on your retouching? Um, how are you feeling about posing and lighting and other realms? Are you just looking all across the board?
I would definitely like to improve my posing and post processing and lighting. I think at level 20, I should be able to produce a photo that would be acceptable for magazines and all those things, for commercial, something like that.
Okay, so are you looking to do advertising work or are you looking to do editorial kind of work?
I still
Like,
don't know.
okay, like,
I want to explore.
are you looking to shoot for other companies and create the work that they're using to sell their products in magazines, or are you looking to do kind of like the art spreads that you see in fashion mags and stuff, where they're more like the mini visual stories?
I think I'd like to have editorial, but
Okay.
then my concern is have I don't really know where to get my creativity and to get ideas. So that's what I'm struggling right now.
Okay. Are you on Pinterest?
I am.
Mackenzie's giving me a hard time because I bring up Pinterest every critique, but I
No, I'm
really
not.
do think that it's brilliant for being able to pull ideas together, um, and have collaborative inspiration points for it. I just think it's really convenient. But I don't care how you do it. But if you're looking for creativity and ideas, I would imagine that starting there and either building a board for each shoot or having a board for, you know, eccentric makeup and one for the fashion elements and clothing and one for the kind of images that you want to shoot or other like you said, H&M before, like having other companies and styles of photography that resonate with you that you want to be able to create. Having those visual interpretations really helps you start to nail down exactly what it is that you're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I try to
Um,
do that. I've started that in on Pinterest. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So your homework in the next couple of levels is going to be to put a board together for a shoot and then bring some images from that shoot to your level 9 critique. What do you think?
Put a board
Any board,
like.
whatever you want to do, but your job, since you feel like you're struggling a little bit with coming up with the creative concepts, is to do exactly that, to you know, put like Van's awesome photo shoot and just whatever, post anything that inspires you. And it can be 10 pins or it can be 1,000 pins. I don't care. But go look and find the things that move you and excite you and you know, that make you feel inspired creatively and start to put it together so that you can put a shoot together visually.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, what else?
I just want to thank you for the time. It's I know it's late there, and it's just morning here, so
Oh, so we're both being night owls right now. What time is it for you?
11 a.m.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, so we're exactly,
That's it.
that'll be
Yeah.
super easy. Okay. Um, well, you passed your level 4 critique with flying colors. So the next couple of levels are really geared towards starting to kind of focus in on what it is that you want to be doing and what your goals are artistically, and if that translates to it being, a financially viable thing that we're working on making this your career, or if it's just something you want to do on the side. So it's really just a lot more exploration in the foundation sphere of figuring out where you want to go. And then sphere 1 is really focused on now that we know where you want to go and we know where you are, then we can work on the steps that get you from one to the other. So just things to keep in mind over the next couple levels.
Sphere 1 is what levels?
Sphere, so anytime that they put the number, a sphere is a 10 level series. So Sphere 1 is level 11 through 19. Sphere 2 is 21 through 29. So whatever the number is in the front of the level, that's what sphere you're in. So 21
I'm
through
not yet.
29 will be
I'm not
2.
yet in any sphere, right? So.
No, the first 9 levels are the foundation sphere. So
Okay.
technically you're in sphere 0 right now.
Cool.
You're at ground level. How are you feeling
Yeah,
so far?
I'm excited for the next levels. Yep.
Good. Me too. Okay, well, we get to do this again at level 9, and it's a little bit more intense. And in the meantime, drop me a line if you need anything. Otherwise, I'll see you at level 9.
Okay. Thanks.
All
Thanks for your time.
right. Okay, I'll talk to you later, Vay. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.